Hello everyone. So the point of this speech is for you guys to get to know me a little bit better. And I thought the best way to do that is by telling you guys one of my most famous stories. Well, like most people, I was born to the parents of Darlene and Wayne, and the fact that I was born was actually something that several doctors had told my mother would be impossible. At the age of 19, she was diagnosed with a severe uterine disorder that would leave her infertile. They told her in order to live a life without pain and not early death, she should get a hysterectomy. She declined, but at the age of 29 decided to get a partial hysterectomy. It wasn't until at age 42 she began feeling sick and weak and ill, and she thought she was dying. So she actually went to the point of filling out her last will and testament. It wasn't until several weeks later that she found out she was pregnant with me. Now, technically I'm the only biological child of my parents, but at the age of 3, my family decided to do foster care. Over the years, I've probably had about 50 brothers and sisters. On average, we would have at least 8 children at a time, so we've had a pretty big family. Now, I'm the only biological child, so I'm actually the only grandchild of my grandparents, and that means I was extremely spoiled. I'm not proud of it, but it's true. I was also notorious for my fits that I would throw when I wouldn't get what I wanted. The worst was when I was 4 years old at Walmart late at night. My family is sitting there, we're just trying to do some late night shopping. We're going through the aisles, everything seems to be fine until I spot Teletubbies. Now, if you're not familiar with what Teletubbies were, they're extremely weird British children's show in the late 90s, and they sort of looked like this. Extremely terrifying, but I love them. Now, these toys weren't just any normal toys. They were these huge plush pillows that were the size of me when I was 4. I just had to have them. So I begged my mom and I pleaded, please, 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 can I please have these Teletubbies? And she's just trying to get us out of there, just trying to get all 8 of us out. And she says, no, you can't have them, let's go. So I begged and cried some more, and then I started to throw my fit. I threw myself on the ground, I was screaming and crying and saying the worst things you would ever hear. I was saying that I was dying, that my mother wasn't my mother, and that I was being kidnapped. I know. Very bad, very bad. So my mothers were trying to get out, we're in the cashier line, and I'm sitting there at the cashier stand, I'm banging my head against the wall. I said, she's not my mom, she's not my mom, someone help, please, it was a stranger. The cashier actually knew my family from my sister who he went to school with. So he knew everything was going on and just trying to get me out of Walmart as soon as possible. Finally, we get in the car, we drive home, and I'm sent to bed. In trouble, obviously. My bedroom was actually right next to my parents' room, which had a phone in it. For whatever reason, I decided to go into my parents' room and call my grandfather. We lived in Rockland, he lived in Sacramento. This is about 10 o'clock at night. I call him and I say, Grandpa, I'm hungry. So he says, I'm on my way. So I go back to my room and I try to fall asleep. Moments later, my mom comes in and she wakes me up. She said, Tiffany, there's someone here to see you. Very not happy at all. So I get up, I walk outside, and I look, and there's a policeman at our doorway. Apparently what had happened is, because I was creating such a scene, another cashier had took the check that my mother had paid with, called the police, and gave him the address on the check. So he's sitting there and he says, were you the little girl that was at Walmart? I sit there and I shake my head, yes. He said, is this your mother? I shake my head yes again. He said, you know how terrible that was. You know how bad you behaved, and you know how much in trouble your mother can go. She can go to jail. I shook my head yes. All of a sudden another car pulls up. This little Chinese little guy gets out of the car with a little plastic bag of canned corn, the most terrified look on his face. So he gets into the house. They all ring me for what had happened. I finally end up going to bed, and everything seems to be fine. The next day, my mother and father decided to go to work, and my grandparents came and babysat me as they did every day. My mother told everyone at work what had happened, and it was a notorious story. She comes home to find me in the living room not only playing with the Teletubby that I wanted, but all 4 Teletubbies that my grandparents had bought me. Please don't make any judgments of me from this story. I have grown to be a very independent, self-supporting, and grateful adult that you see here today. So I thank you.